Hello, and welcome to one of our inaugural episodes of Leading While Human. This is Sean Gaylord, and I am very pleased to be here with you in what will prove to be a series of explorations where we explore the evolution of leadership rooted in belonging, courage, and people first practice. I am so honored to co host this project with Dr. Sonia Matthew.
Hey everyone. Hey Sean. I'm so excited about our very first podcast. My name is Dr. Sonia Matthew, right here in Maryland. I'm an assistant principal. Great to be here with all of you.
It really is. And we have just someone who I have been honored to follow for many years in the PLN. And I know Sonia, you and Rachel are connected in many ways beyond geography. So why don't we welcome Rachel? We're so glad to have you here and just honored.
Thank you so much for having me, and congratulations on your first series of podcasts together. I know it's going to make a tremendous difference in the lives of all the school leaders and educators who are listening in.
Thank you.
Great. It's so wonderful again, Rachel. We're going to call you Dr. Rachel, Dr. Edoho-Eket. How about that? It's hard for me since we are friends out over here in the great state of Maryland.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and start, Dr. Edoho-Eket, with just a brief biography for our viewers. So Dr. Rachel Edoho-Eket is a wife, mother, principal, author, speaker, and president of the Maryland Association of Elementary School Principals. She also is an ASCD faculty member and serves as an adjunct professor at McDaniel College. Named a district administration top 100 influencer in education, she advocates to support all students, staff, and families in education. Her two best-selling books, The Principal's Journey and Relational Intelligence, one of my faves, equip school leaders. Okay, we're prepared. Equip school leaders with practical tips and guidance for success. Her podcast, Strong Start Sundays, fosters a vibrant community of school leaders. Dr. Edoho-Eket holds degrees in early childhood and elementary education, curriculum development, and leadership. Wow, that was a mouthful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you
So,
again.
yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. So this is really all about being authentically who we are as leaders. And Rachel, in my journey, I have learned, and I'm still learning, that really that human side of who we are is what is that secret sauce. And sometimes it's hard to really be vulnerable, but you do it so well. And that's why we wanted to have you here as our very first guest on our series called Human Centered Leadership. Is that right, Sean? Did we get it right?
We got
Human Centered Leadership?
we got the ethos of it, leading while
Ah,
human, and
leading
and
while
we're
human.
and we are delving into that human-centered leadership piece,
Yeah.
so which you both exemplify so well.
Awesome, awesome. We're going to go ahead and start with that first question. And that is, Dr. Edoho-Eket, why does human-centered leadership matter, especially now?
This is an awesome question, and I think it really does speak to the work that all of us are doing and so many school leaders across the country and really across the world. We need to center ourselves first before we can serve anyone else. And I think the connection is what is missing and is what is deeply needed, especially right now. I think about social media, for instance, and someone might have 1,000 connections, but there still is this epidemic of loneliness. There's a lot of studies that talk about people, you might be in a room full of people surrounded by people, but still feeling that loneliness. And what all of us need are those personal connections. And so a lot of my work that I try to do every single day on at my school and in my community and beyond is really making those personal connections with people, letting people know that I'm available, that I'm here, checking in with them. And that is really what is the glue that holds everything together is the connections. I think we can all do our jobs like robots, come in, leave, go out, but that is not the way that school is designed. And I don't think that that's the way it should be. We should be able to make that time and space to connect with everyone that we're serving. And those connections really do last a lifetime. And they often come back in future years in very rewarding and rich ways. I can speak to several kindergarten students that I've had over the years that I'm still in contact with into their adulthood. My first class are in their 20s right now, and they're just doing amazing work. And I just love seeing them thriving, seeing their parents, connecting with them again. And that's the most rewarding part of our jobs, in my opinion.
I love that, Dr. Edoho-Eket. I think about the very first thing you said, right? Like centering ourselves first. And having known you now for several years and working directly with you at the state level, I think about some of the talks that you've given, the presentations around boundaries and burnout and how it's so important to have self-care. What would be, as we think about human-centered leadership and leading while human, what would be some advice you could give school leaders who want to lead as human-centered leaders, but maybe struggling with centering themselves first?
Well, I'm someone that likes to keep things very simple. You know that about me. And so when I think of school leaders, we have very large, complex jobs. If we were to write down everything that we do in a single day, that list is pretty much never ending. And one of the things I like to do is to really simplify and think at a minimum, what can I do today that will bring someone joy? Or what can I do to talk with someone to build a relationship? These are very basic things, but in the grand scheme of things, when we think about our jobs, like I think about when I retire as a principal, what will people say about me? Will they say, we love the way that Rachel ran meetings? Will they say, we love the way that she put an agenda together? She's organized? No, I hope that's not what they say. I hope that people will say that Rachel cared about me, that my principal called me when I needed that, that she gave me a hug. I hope my students are going to say, she tied my shoe. That's how I know that she cared about me, that, she talked to me, she knew my name. So I think if we simplify our work and put it really into that human-centered space, our jobs, to me, we have a better perspective on our work with serving people, and that is truly to be a presence that is positive, that is joyful, that is caring, that is solution oriented. Those are the things that I think about when I'm stepping into my school every day. Can I make a good agenda? Probably, yeah, I can do that. But that is not the main part of my job. When I really look at the building blocks of being a school leader, it's about the people. It's about serving our teachers, our staff, our community, our family members, and our students. And I think if we all simplified it in that way, then we would make some good choices on where we should be putting our energy every single day.
Hmm.
I love it. People first. And it sounds so simple, but it just seems to be so hard as I
Yeah,
navigate school leadership as an assistant principal.
yeah.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I'm going to go ahead and toss it over to you, Sean.
Sure thing. Thanks, Dr. Matthews. So you talked about, ways in which you kind of live that out, and if folks follow you in your various social media platforms, people will get a sense of that. How you are not someone that is leading at 38,000 feet. You are very much ground level. You lock arms with your teachers. You celebrate them. You're in the work. I mean, there is you're on the playground. You're in the library.
Yeah.
You're in the classroom. Car duty.
Yeah.
And part of that is you're modeling, I think, what it means to be a human centered leader. So kind of building on that kind of live out, I want to just kind of flip my question just a little bit. Is where do you see the pitfalls? Where do you see folks make those errors. And again, we're human. We make
Yeah.
mistakes, but where do you see maybe some of the deficits in leadership or the avoidances that serve as barriers to folks being human-centered leaders?
Yeah, this is a great question, Sean. And I think one of the main things is the lack of vulnerability. I'm someone who was a new principal during COVID-19, and I was really struggling during that time. Anyone who knows me knows I talk a lot about that time because that was the time in my career where I was a new principal and I almost quit. And I,
Mm.
at the time, was thinking, there's no way that I can do this job and be successful and keep my mental health in check.
Mhm.
But what I had to realize during that time was that I was trying to be perfect. And I think that that gets in the way sometimes as leaders. We want to be perfect. We want people to believe that we have all the answers. We want people to believe that we have it all together. We want people to trust us to the degree that it pushes us into that area of perfectionism, that we can't make mistakes as leaders. We can't have people think we've done something wrong. And what was very freeing for me was realizing that I was able to connect with my staff so much better when I admitted I didn't know something, when I admitted that something was a challenge for me, when I admitted that I needed help and that I would be seeking help. I remember sitting at a table one time with my leadership team, my former leadership team, and I had casually mentioned that I was going to my next therapy appointment. And it was silence in the room until someone finally said, Rachel, you go to therapy of all people? And I said, I don't know why you're saying of all people. We all need therapy. Therapy changed
Amen.
my life. And I kind of went on and talked about how I was in therapy, what I was struggling with at the moment, and how it was helping me. And after that conversation, I had a couple text messages like, wow, I really appreciate you saying that because I'm struggling here too, and I've never considered therapy. And so I think that if we can take that veil off, and I've had some amazing mentors who were principals, one of them, Heidi Walter, who trained me up. She was really good at being vulnerable about saying, I don't know all the answers, but I'm going to find a way. I'll connect with the right people. We're going to figure it out. And that type of modeling for me really changed the way that I saw the principalship.
That is so beautifully said because I think, having, been in school administration, close to 20 years now,
Mhm.
and thinking about and Sony and I have talked about this, how there's myths of leadership,
Mhm.
and when I was coming along, male principals,
Mhm.
we were supposed to wear, suits. African American male principals, it was supposed to be a three-piece suit, and
Mhm.
and our Sunday clothes, and then there was all these things of, standing on tables and all of these things, and really creating ourselves as superhuman.
Mhm.
And I will tell you, in the midst of all of that, some of those things, for me personally, cost me my
Yeah.
health, cost
Yeah.
me a little bit of my nervous system. And I appreciate you, sharing, you going to therapy. I go to therapy,
Yeah.
and I think it's those things in which we we recognize our vulnerability and then share it in a way that seems natural and right and fitting and well timed. it
Yes.
it does, as you say, the image of lifting the veil. Oh, you go to, wow, okay. And us, by saying those things like, I don't know, or I can't figure out this policy, or yeah, I sat in the central office meeting and it still doesn't make sense, but we'll figure it out together, or
Yeah.
whatever it may be. It helps normalize, I think, that human centeredness. It helps normalize um, things that need to be faced that maybe somebody else is enduring and going through. Kind of like in the classroom, where I would say, I said this the other day to some students. I was talking to a class I was visiting, and I said, "Man, I'm horrible at math." And they looked at me like, "What?" Yes, I got D's and maths, D's and F's all the time in math. I'm a horrible math student. I'm an English guy. Oh, and again, you could just see the
Yeah.
the 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 veil lift and the pressure go down. And oh, he's
Yeah.
one of us. Oh, he gets it.
And I think our kids are really good about that too. Like you
Mhm.
said, sometimes when you're with students, they'll model that for us. And the same thing, vice versa. If I say to a student, I don't know, let's ask the teacher, let's raise our hands. And they're like, you don't know something, Dr. Edoho-Eket? No, I don't. I learn something new every day. That's why I'm still in elementary school. I still learn new things every day. So they always get a kick out of that. And I think that modeling for students and showing that we're not perfect individuals, no matter what the assumptions are, that we make mistakes too, that's really important for students and our families to hear as well.
Yes. Dr. Matthew, I'm going to toss the last question to you. I'm tossing the virtual mic to you. And I know this is a question. I'm really intrigued to hear Dr. Edo-Eket's take on this one.
Yeah, we have these, of course, we have it planned, right? We have our questions planned, but we also discussed as we launched the podcast series, so much of our information is coming from the answers of our guests. And so we might have to go in a little bit of a different direction because
Love it.
Dr. Edoeket has given us some gems. And one of the things that I love that you just said, Sean, was the togetherness and collaboration. And I know firsthand, and I'm an example of someone that I keep trying to say Rachel, Dr. Ed has taken a personal investment in me, right? So just as someone who is aspiring to be a principal and being that example, and also realizing that we are in this together, and that also helps us. It's that edification, right? That knowing that you're not alone. I know you mentioned that, Dr. Rachel, Dr. Edoweke. What I want to ask, which is going off script, if you are willing, because you have it together, and I just sit here in awe. How does she do all this? Sean, did you see when she was one of her posts in heels doing push-ups with the kids?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
That was fun. That was fun.
I did.
unbelievable. And so I wonder about people who leaders who are able to get it all done, and again, your example has helped me. And I think it would really benefit our folks out there, our listeners, to know what are those strategies? What is your day like? What do you do to get it all done? Um, in order to then have the emotional capacity
Yeah.
to be people centered. We would love to hear that. Wouldn't you love to hear that, Sean? I would
Yes.
love to.
Yeah.
What?
Give us the
What?
secret sauce. Give us the
Oh my
recipe.
goodness.
Yeah. First of all,
Yes.
I love this question. There's not here's the first secret I'm going to tell you. I don't get everything done every single day. That's number one. You
Right
have
on.
to prioritize your day. And I learned a long time ago, if I were actually going to write down my entire to-do list and get that done, I would be working till 9, 10 o'clock at night. And as you know, I have some very strict boundaries in my life, and I no longer do that. Now, there was a time when I was doing that, working till 10 and 11 o'clock at night. I just do not do that. That is a choice.
Same here.
So when you talk about emotional capacity, part of that emotional capacity is having a start and an end time to my day. And anything that does not get done rolls over into the next day. That's number one. So everything does not get done. So I'm going to take that myth away. Secondly, when I am on the job, I do try to prioritize at least seeing every child every single day. And this is not revolutionary, it's nothing new, but the ways that I can do it are either getting to the classrooms, which can be a challenge as time is. So if I can't get into the classrooms, I get into the cafeteria. I can see an entire grade level in a number of minutes. If I go at the transitional time, I can see two grade levels. I can see 500 kids in a very quick amount of time.
Mhm.
So that's one way that I do it. I do arrival and dismissal. So I'm seeing students in and out of the building every single day, but that's always a priority for me is to get face time with kids. Another thing that I do is I delegate. We have an amazing leadership team at our school, and the teachers are extremely independent and they're very well respected in our community. So if there is something that is ever bubbling up, our staff tends to say, I'm going to handle it first, and if I need you, I will ask you for support. And I love that because that is something that I work with in my previous school, and we got to that point. And when you go to a new school, you don't really know what the culture is. And so it was great that that culture was already established from some really tremendous principals before I even stepped in the door. So that's another thing is delegating. And then finally, some things just are not a priority. And so if I have the choice to sit in my office and send an email, versus going outside to play with kids for 10 minutes. I'm going outside to play for 10 minutes. I'll find another way to make up that 10 minutes later. But the important part is the people part. And that's what we cannot replace. That's where technology cannot do it. But technology can help us to do our jobs better. So, in terms of using I use AI lots of different ways as a thought partner and different things that I do. And that also helps me to take off some of that load. But I just want to reiterate there is no way a school leader can get everything done every single day. It's not going to happen. We have to make choices. And my hope is that through our work, through your podcast, through my podcast, through all the books and things that we're doing, is that school leaders begin to make the choice that it's okay to have boundaries, that it is okay not to answer an email in favor of responding to a teacher who needs you right now, that it's okay to call a parent on the phone, even if it takes an extra 10 minutes, because that investment of time is going to build a relationship for the future. And you're going to need that strong relationship and partnership if you're going to be successful with students. So those are some of the things that I do think about on a daily basis, keeping my job as simple as possible, keeping it people centered, and just accepting the fact that every task is not going to get done every single day. I have to accept that.
Hmm. That's
Wow.
that's what I call a rewind moment. So
Yes.
if you are viewing, listening to this podcast, this is the clip, this is the edit that you make, and go back and save it, because right there, Dr. Edoho-Eket, you just gave a master class in
Yes.
what it means to be a human-centered leader, with three just kind of simple ways that you unpack so beautifully.
Thank you.
That's got to go in your next book or something.
Yeah,
It's
I'll work on
I
powerful.
that.
love it. Yes. Wow, definitely. And I'm just here writing all these
Me
notes and I
too.
kept, people that, the centeredness of people and being intentional about that just was threaded throughout all of her answers. Getting the face time, maximizing those minutes,
Yeah.
the investment of relational deposits, relational trust, hence the reason I love their book. It's Dr. Edoho-Eket and Dr. Brad Johnson,
Mhm.
Relational Intelligence. Hold it up, Dr. Edoho-Eket,
Yeah, hold
for
it up for
us.
us, please.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, such great information. Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank
Edoho-Eket.
you.
I believe we're coming to the end. These are just too
Yeah,
short, but
we
time is valuable and we have to guard it. But the
yes,
quality of the content
Yeah.
is
yes.
what matters. Yes.
Yes, we yeah that our time on this podcast is intentional, because as much as we love everyone tuning in and listening to us, you got to be a human. You got to go be a
Mhm.
human. Be a human for you. Think about what Rachel said at the beginning. You've got to center yourself. So, if you are interested, friends who are tuning in, and you want to keep the thought partnership going, and you want to follow Rachel and see the push-ups in the high heels, Dr. Edoho-Eket, what are the best ways for folks to either follow you, contact you? I know that you do book speaking engagements quite frequently. You consult,
Yeah.
you coach,
Yeah.
and keynote. So what are the best avenues for folks to get to you?
First of all, I want to say thank you both, Sean and Sonia, for having me. I really appreciated this conversation, and I'm just so excited for this podcast and the impact that I know it's going to make. And so, congratulations on that. I just want to say that. And I'm really excited to stay connected with so many wonderful school leaders and educators across the country and beyond. And so, I am on social media. You can find me at Rachel Edoho-Eket across all platforms: Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. I have lots of videos, lots of resources. The best way to get in contact with me is racheledoho-eket.com. It has all of my speaker information, my consulting information, different articles that I've written, and just videos that I think will help along the journey that I'm hopeful that will be helpful to listeners. So thank you again for this opportunity to connect.
Rachel, thank you for being our first guest, and thank you for reminding us of what it means to lead while human. Rachel is one of four inaugural guests that we will have on the podcast. So think of this as like volume one. And Sonia and I are so excited in the months and weeks ahead to speak with three additional voices in addition to Rachel's. We've got another just great friend and thought partner and bandmate, Lauren Kaufman, who has been a frequent guest on my podcast projects, and excited to have the author of The Leader Inside join us for this series. Then we also have Dr. Donia Ball, who is another. She is my sister in from another Mister, and I am very grateful that we will hear her expertise and her leadership core, and then we have the boss of all bosses, the chief of all chiefs, the jefe of all jefes, and that is Principal Kafele. And we are so excited that we have got. I mean, most folks know I'm a Beatles fan, but this is the Fab Four. This is the Fab Four, Dr. Matthew. This is we got
It
we got
is.
we got something
Yes.
better than the Beatles coming up here. So really excited about that. This podcast is available on all kinds of different platforms. We're on Apple Podcast, we're on Spotify, we're on Megaphone, we are on YouTube, and we would be very grateful if you would subscribe on that favorite platform of your choice and leave us a great review, and that will definitely help us as we promote what it means to be human as a leader. And remember this, friends. Leadership is not just what we do. Think about what Rachel just said. It is about how we show up for people. This is Leading While Human. This is Sean Gaylord with my wonderful co-host and thought partner and friend, Dr. Sonia Matthew. Thank you again, Dr. Rachel Edoho-Eket. Thank you
Thank
all
you,
for tuning in.
Rachel.
You're
Thank
so
you,
welcome.
Dr. Edoho-Eket.
Thank you.
Awesome.